Here's an AMI This Week shortcut with Laura Bain.
If you love plants but don't have a backyard or outdoor space, houseplants are the answer. If you don't know how to get started or you're brand new to plants, we've got you covered. Joining me from her shop in Dartmouth, Audrey's Little Shop of Plants, is owner Audrey Flanders. Audrey, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
So Audrey, the shop that you're standing in right now, it's packed with plants, and I know that you teach classes on caring for plants. Do you have any general tips for someone who's a beginner?
I would first look for the light in your house. Do you have a window? Because all plants need some sort of natural light. And then I often find out what kind of lifestyle someone has. So if you're a very busy person, you probably don't want really plants that you have to care for every 3 or 4 days. And some people love to take care of their plants constantly. So we will show them plants that do need a little bit more care.
Are there any common go-tos for people that are maybe getting their first house plant and are just total beginners?
So there are types of plants like pothos plants, and pothos plants have heart-shaped leaves that hang down. They're very easy to take care of because they can tolerate overwatering or underwatering, and they will bounce back quickly.
What's the most common mistake that you see people making?
One of the most common mistakes is when people purchase a plant and they start watering it too often.
Yeah, that's something I never really know, is when to water my plants or when they need it. Is there an easy way that people can tell when their plants need to be watered?
There's a wonderful way that we use. So we use something called the chopstick method, and it's a really old-fashioned way of checking the moisture level of the soil all the way down your pot to the drainage hole. And it really is just a cooking stick. So when you're baking a brownie and you pull it out of a brownie and you touch it and it's still moist, then your brownie's not finished. So it's the same for when you push a cooking stick. And they're those little wooden skewers that you would find in the dollar store or kitchen store. And you push it all the way into the soil. And then when you slowly push it up, I can touch the wood on the stick and see the moisture, or touch the moisture level or feel it. And then you can also tell how much loose, wet soil is still sticking on the stick. So if the soil is still very wet, there'll be a lot of soil stuck on that stick that you can feel. And then I can tell when a plant needs to be watered based on that.
So I sent you a picture of one of my 2 aloe plants, just an aloe vera plant, but I think that I really neglect it. I think maybe I don't water it too much. What do you think's going on there?
Aloe plants have very small root systems and are very shallow rooted. So if you have a small aloe in a very large pot with a lot of rich soil, the aloe plant will struggle trying to grow in that large pot because it grows in usually rocky, stony soil with very little roots in that soil. And they naturally tip. So I usually recommend to keep your aloe in a pot just slightly bigger than the root system.
And I also sent you a photo. This was, I think, my first houseplant, and I believe that it's called a leopard lily. And it's about 3 feet tall, and it's lush and tropical with these big green leaves. You know, this plant is really healthy, I think, but it hasn't been able to support its own weight as the stalks have gotten bigger. So I've put a piece of copper pipe down the middle of the plant, and I've tied some twine around the stems. So I'm wondering what advice you would have for me as this plant gets bigger, and some things that I could be doing to better care for it.
Yours is a really beautiful one, and I don't think you really have to do anything with it. I think the copper pipe is a great idea. You gave it the support, and that's kind of what we have to do in Canada, because a lot of our plants do get a bit leggy and thin because we're not in a tropical place.
I'm gonna have to put it on the floor and get a bigger pot, I think, if it gets a whole lot bigger, but certainly it does boost your mood having the plants around and having that greenery to look at.
Mm-hmm. And touch. I mean, we always encourage our customers to touch the leaves of the plants that you want to look at.
Okay, that's good to know, because I always feel like I'm gonna be hurting the plants if I'm touching them.
If you're gentle, it's just kind of a way of saying I love you. It's also a great way to check for bugs. Stickiness on leaves is an insect issue. It's a nice when you're cleaning up leaves. So it's kind of like a grooming spa day, I call it. Like cleaning up any leaves, I say hi to it. There's studies that plants know that we're feeling that way about them. So it's just it's a nice way to stay connected to nature.
Well, Audrey, thank you so much for joining me. I feel a little bit better equipped going into purchasing my next houseplant and caring for the ones that I have now.
And thanks so much for having me. I've enjoyed talking to you guys today about plants.